Hey everybody, welcome to Aunties Talk Sports, where we go beyond the game and explore the intersection of sports and culture for the female sports fan. I am Jennifer, aka Auntie Jen, aka Jen B.
And I am Kalia, also known as KB.
And, we always start off the show with a crazy headline or, the most interesting or the least, or your favorite or least favorite headline from this week or story from this week. So what you got? What you think of this week? What did you see?
Well, I'm a little late. I'm a little behind, but I finally heard G-Mac Cash's song about the Tigers. Have you heard this? Has anybody heard
the
this?
Tigers won again?
Yes.
All they do is
that's right.
About 2, 3, 4 years off. It's a couple of years off.
Yeah. I know, but that is funny for me because one, I hate Detroit rap. So it's like rapping against the beat, but the fact that it was like Tigers, I saw it in some promo stuff this week. And so I'm loving how the professional sports teams in Detroit really are using Detroit culture to kind of promote their team. So that was funny for me this week.
Yeah. My least favorite headline, I'm going to call it Hold That L. And I'm going to tell Aryna Sabalenka to hold that L that she got in the French Open against Coco, where she came out after she lost and said, that Coco didn't necessarily beat her. Mm-hmm. She, beat herself, the weather conditions were bad. She was making up all kinds of excuses and said that the previous opponent that Coco played, Iga Swiatek, could have beat Coco if she had played her, and just ridiculous. So that I'm just going to say, hold that L.
Yeah, she was behaving badly. I mean, I think it's important for people to know how to win graciously, but also to be a good loser. And, she was still in her feelings and it showed.
Yeah. So, speaking of the French Open, it was a very, very, very great match. Coco at 21, while Sabalenka was self-destructing and hollered at her box, and I think she was cussing him out, Coco displayed great poise. She held it together. She was down the first set. She almost came back and won that first set. And then she dominated the second set and pulled through in the third set. So it was just a great victory. There were a lot of unforced errors on both sides. 70 by Sabalenka alone, and they're both great players, but Coco is really. She showed a lot of poise, and that was just a great victory for her.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago that she felt, it seems like she's kind of hitting her stride and being a little bit more comfortable, being more, visibly, emotional, and not in a bad way, but just showing kind of that fire and that metal. And I think she definitely carried it over to the French. So she won, was winning her second major, both against Sabalenka, right, in similar fashion. So that's also what was probably up underneath it, right? Sabalenka knows that, I can, win the first set, but that doesn't mean, that Coco is out of the match, and she's younger. So, it's not necessarily a full changing of the guard, but Coco is letting people know that she's coming. So just, it was a special match too, because it was the first number one versus number two in a final, since 2013, 2018 when Serena Williams defeated Maria Sharapova. Coco Gauff is the youngest American to win a women's singles since 2002. And obviously Serena won it. I think it's just great too, because Coco talks about how much Serena really meant to her, right? And so it's nice to see her breaking some of the records. But we were just talking, I feel like Chris Evert was on the right side of history, right? Everybody knows that she was sometimes a big critic of the Williams sisters, but she definitely made sure that, she let Sabalenka know she wasn't really a fan of her making excuses about all the unforced errors. She's like, at this point, the number one can't play, in windy conditions like that. That's ridiculous. So good win for Coco. Looking forward to the U.S. Open. I think that's my favorite major is the U.S. Open, then probably followed by Wimbledon. What about you?
I agree. Shout out to Chris Evert. A broken clock is right twice a day. And she's talking about Coco, but Coco is safe. And Chris Evert likes safe.
Yeah.
And that's why she's defending her. But the history that she has displayed, I don't know. So I just have that to say.
Yeah. Up next, another story that I followed this week was about Michael Beasley and Lance Stevenson battling out in the one-on-one on the one-on-one platform at TNC, which was just crazy to me. So TNC, unbeknownst to me, have you ever heard of TNC before this week? No. So it's like an online platform, like a gaming platform for people to battle it out one-on-one, and then they live stream it. So imagine like being in your boys club gym, right? Where you just got everybody in there watching the game from the neighborhood. That's how it is. Okay. So it's like real street ball, but inside. And so like Rutgers, but inside of you streaming it, right? Yeah. So Lance got into a couple of fights. He's pushing people. I mean, it was wild. But Michael Beasley won. He beat Lance Stevenson, won $100,000, but I think it went viral because of the promo. And so Michael Beasley was talking. Everybody know he has some mental health concerns, but he was talking a lot of trash, saying he was going to have Lance out there shaking like a stripper. I mean, it was wild. People were like, is this basketball? And then after he won, he said, oh, we entertained the masses. This was like the best, X-rated tape since Kim Kardashian. Like it just, his conversation about the game had like these sexual undertones, and people was like, what's going on?
Did Lance blow in his ear or something? What happened?
I don't know, but it was definitely weird. But I think, so everybody knows, Kyrie Irving is a little bit, can be kind of picks and choose about who he associates himself with, but he was a commentator for TNC. He did the post-game interviews. He used it as an opportunity to give Michael Beasley his flowers. So I don't know if I'll watch it again, but it was entertaining, but probably for all the wrong reasons.
Let me just piggyback on you said he was Lance Stevenson was fighting DeMarcus Cousins, 34-year-old DeMarcus Cousins over in Puerto Rico fighting fans today and got suspended.
Okay, I saw that, but I didn't click on it, but it's one of my friends was listening to our last episode, and she texted me. She knows nothing about sports, but she was like, I can't believe it's like adult people fighting mamas and, daddies, because she was talking about Haliburton's dad. But, sports gets the adrenaline pumping, and unfortunately, sometimes people take it too far. So, let's see.
The Tigers are, I'm a homer. I gotta talk about the home team, okay? My Tigers are still in first place.
Still have the best
record at 44-24, and they beat up on Baltimore last night. I was glad that they were out of town because we were down at the Kendrick concert, and they would have been crazy. So
parking would have been even more crazy.
what did Kendrick say? You know, he won the Super Bowl, so he's the Super Bowl champ. But yeah, so Tigers, it's not a fluke. Like I said last episode, it's not a fluke. We're here. You know, we have a couple of great pitchers that we have more than one great pitcher, but Screwball and Flaherty are, you know, tops in my book. And Flaherty's on my fantasy team, just so you know.
I'm gonna go to my first game.
So you know.
Soon. I haven't been to a Tigers game this season. My kids have, but I haven't. But I'm gonna go. I promise I'm gonna go.
I went to one so far. They lost. That hasn't happened in a long time. I haven't seen them lose in my presence in a long time. So
yeah. So a lot of action in the NBA with coach, obviously a lot of coach firings, some hirings. Jordan Ott, a Cavs assistant, former MSU assistant, is on his way to the Phoenix Suns. That is really hilarious because, you know, we have another mortgage giant with ties to Detroit who owns a team, and him and Matt seem to be going back and forth, right? Yep. Competing in sports as well as mortgages. So what do you think about that, Jim?
Yeah, the coach that he hired was Cavs assistant.
Yeah.
The other coach that they interviewed was a Cavs assistant. And, you know, I love it. Look, I think Ishbia is competing with Gilbert more than Gilbert's competing with Ishbia, because I just, you know, he just always seems to be doing stuff. But it to me, it's healthy. I don't know. Matt Ishbia also just he and his brother that are buying the Chicago White Sox.
Probably so. I think
he's expanding his sports empire. So, you know, shout out to him. I like him. I you know.
But he is very clear. He was named, I think it was Crane's Business Leader of the Year a couple of years ago, and I heard him speak. I mean, he was very open. Like, he's competitive. He's a competitive guy. So he's like, yeah, I'm trying to kill Dan Gilbert, you know, not literally, but he's like, I'm coming for him, you know? Yeah. So I think it's also, right, the older guy who's kind of not getting to the end of his career, but has made most of his money. And Matt, by comparison, is the younger guy. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he definitely sees that the NBA is not the mortgage business, right? And it's very different from being a fan to, right, being an owner. And I think, you know, probably first time owners overstep a lot of times, make a lot of, you know, personnel decisions. And then once they see them not paying out, like, oh, that's why people hire a good team. And he thought you could just go out and, you know, get all the big guns. And it was a disaster.
And he caught heat. And he had to explain that and, you know, catch that heat. But I like, you know, his support of the WNBA team. And so that goes very far with me. So shout out.
Shout out to the hometown owners.
Yes.
And, you know, we talked a little bit about Coco as well, and I think you mentioned it, but, you know, 70 unforced errors for Sabalenka, 6 double faults. You know, the rain, 30 miles an hour winds, also, you know, really, really important and undoubtedly had a impact on the game. But you know what I'm excited to talk about next, because I called it, right? I did call it.
Okay, I was wrong. I said that OKC would win game 1. I just, you know, I don't know. And I said too, I love an underdog, and Indy's been known to go into their opponent's arena and win, take home court advantage. And sure enough,
that's exactly what happened.
You called it.
I did. I called it. We got to get like the little ticker, you know how they have on Sunday on like, no, it's not Sunday night. It's college game day when they have their little ticker for the season. So all the games that you call, what's your record? But, yeah, I mean, it was a great game. But I think the Pacers have shown, right, all playoffs long that you can never count them out. You can never count them out. And I was reading up a little bit on kind of Tyrese and his preparation, and I read this really great article about him and kind of his selfishness and how he's not a selfish person. He's more so like a pass first, point guard, but his trainer was teaching him, that when he is more selfish, by and large, the team does better. And so I'll talk about it a little later, but the statistics that the Pacers have when he actually takes more shots and why that's successful. But, yeah.
I just knew when I was watching game one, I was like, oh my goodness, they're about to steal this game.
Just
because it was
close.
just like steady.
Yeah.
And OKC was just like, oh, we got this. No, you don't. You're about to lose this game. And when they came back, the momentum just swung, and it was just like, they're going to lose this game. And they lost. And they deserved to lose because they were just too comfortable.
What I loved about Haliburton in his post-game interview, he said their goal is always to cut it by 5. So we're down 15. We're going to try to cut it to 10, cut it to 5. And just that methodical kind of, game plan of working in 5s, I think paid off for them. So we have some statistics here that were prepared by our intern, Elijah, the intern. We want to introduce him. So Elijah Hines, who is a rising senior at University of Detroit Jesuit, is our intern. So Elijah, you want to say what's up?
Hey guys, they gave me a great introduction. Elijah Hines, rising senior at UD Jesuit. Just doing what I can to help.
Thank you. So, game one, and I think in looking at the statistics, right, the Pacers had a balanced attack, right? So they had six people on the team in double figures. And although, SGA played, 40 minutes and scored 38, it wasn't as much of a balanced attack. And so I think moving forward, that's going to be something that we have to, continue to monitor. It's like, will a more balanced attack from the Pacers, obviously, SGA is going to get his, but it's the strategy for the Pacers is like, let him score as much, but try to keep the impact of the other players to a minimum.
Right. He's going to get his 30 no matter what. Pretty win or lose, he's going to have 30. That's SGA. But I think Haliburton, he'll defer, and then he'll turn it on.
Yeah.
And where he, had the 39 minutes but 14 points, it may not look like he was involved, but when he hit the shot when it needed to count, right at the end. What was it, 0.3 seconds or something like that?
Yeah.
You can't do anything with 0.3. I mean, you could tip it, whatever, but he when he needed to step up, he stepped up.
Yeah.
So
no, that it was funny to me too, because I feel like nobody ever talks about it. His little double pump. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? It's like at the end of the game, everybody's usually tired, especially if you play a lot of minutes. But he has a little double pump on his shot that I think gives it just a little extra oomph to get it in. But I think it was a good game. But then game 2, it was like the complete opposite, right? They were completely outplayed and were down bad and really couldn't shave off those points in the same fashion.
Well, yeah, and I'll say even in game 1, like it looked like Indy had no chance in the beginning. They were like discombobulated, and then game 2, I want to. The difference there, and Richard Jefferson must have said it like 50,000 times during the. Haliburton needs to do that the whole game. Don't wait until the fourth quarter or the end of the fourth quarter to try to turn it on and come from behind. If you do that same thing the whole game, you'll win. Turn that meter on, turn that double pump on in the beginning of the game, not just at the end of the game.
Yeah, and so I was fascinated by that. There was a really great article on ESPN where he talked about actually when he was still at Sacramento and how he had reached out to Drew Hanlon, who is a big time trainer in the NBA. And he said Hanlon had told him that he would only work with him if I think he took 15 shots in the next game. Because he was like, your unselfishness is actually hurting your game. And so then he, made it a point to go out and shoot more. I think he ended up scoring almost 30. And so then Drew was like, okay, like I'll work with you. And so I thought that was fascinating because in today's day and age, a lot of times you find that a lot of players, even point guards, are shoot first, right? They're shoot first. They're thinking about kind of getting their points, but he still, he maybe is more of an old school player or old school point guard who's still looking to get others involved. But he had said in the article that one of the ways that he kind of reminds himself to shoot more is to think orange. Right, because the rim is orange. And so the morning before that first game, Drew had taken all of the orange things in his household and put them like in front of his bedroom door. Like, come on, I need you to be actually looking at the basket. Act like you want to shoot. So I thought that was interesting. It's always great, I think, to hear like what players do mentally to kind of prepare. Yeah.
That is an interesting point because they have rituals, they have pregame meals or something. They're superstitious a lot of times, so they're looking for anything that gives them an advantage to be in the game.
Yeah,
in a different way.
Yeah. So I found it. So it was online. So when he shoots 20 or more shots a game, the Pacers are 4-0. So when he shoots, 15 or more, they're 29-10. But if he takes if he takes 10 or more shots, they're like 52 and 27. So, and that's a weird concept, right? The more selfish I am, the better my team is going to do. Do you think that's how it is in life?
The more selfish you are.
Yeah, like the more you prioritize yourself, your own needs, that you then are better positioned to, to give
absolutely.
to other people.
Put your mask on before you can help others.
That's hard. That's hard.
It's something that you have to practice. It's something you have to be conscious of. And when you don't do that, if you're not your full self, you can't be useful to anyone else. So I think that applies in life and in sports. Remember, this is the intersection of sports, culture, life. That's right.
And then too, so when we talk about like the difference in game 1 and game 2, right? So SGA still had his 30. Pacers still had a balanced attack, but this time they had seven players who were in double figures. But the difference was really Alex Caruso, who first game he had 11, second game he had 20, so it was much more active. Chet had 15 points, so that was up from the first game. He only had 6, so they definitely got more production out of their supporting cast. But I think I like the Thunder, but I still feel like they're young, and so I think that the young players on the team are still going to be inconsistent, up and down.
I think the Thunder's I remember I told you a couple episodes ago that their defense it's going to be defense against offense, in my opinion. OKC's defense can really lock them down, and if they had done that, if they had just stayed the course in game 1, it would be 2-0. But that ain't how it works. in any given day, any team can win. So, tonight's a big night.
It is. So who you got? This is game 3. We're gonna call it now.
My record here is a little tarnished. I'm gonna give game 3 to OKC. I don't know why. I don't know.
So they're in Indy tonight, right?
They're in Indy.
I'm not a big Pacers. I mean, of course, Pacers, my hometown team. I'm from Indiana, but I'm gonna still go with the Pacers.
Yeah, that home crowd is gonna be on fire. But I said the same thing about OKC in game 1, and Indiana went in there and stole that one.
Because all you need to do is steal one, right? To kind of get you. But did you see the video of Reggie Miller? The video in his house when Haliburton hit the game winner in game 1?
No, because they were too busy showing Dwayne Wade and his reaction. I'm like, well, they don't want to see that.
Oh, it was so sweet. His family, his kids, they were like jumping on furniture.
No,
it was a real sweet moment. I know cool. you think what should happen with Reggie if they win?
I think they should give him a ring. First of all, I think they should sign him to a no, they can't sign him because then I think they should give him a ring. Sign him to a 1-day, player personnel development contract.
But why? Why do you think that Reggie should get a ring versus?
I don't think he would want it, but I'm just saying because it's Reggie Miller. He is Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, well,
but you know what? I watch. Every time I see it, I watch it 10 times and I share it on my story. That Tayshaun block on Reggie Miller. That's history right there. I love it. So I got to ask Elijah, what do you think happens tonight? Who do you pick tonight? Because I like your take on sports. I need you to chime in with who you're taking.
I'm taking OKC. I think you were right. You said the home crowd's going to be on fire. Indiana, basketball is, they eat, breathe, sleep. It's a basketball town.
Right.
And so the fans are going to show out. That's not going to be a question. So Indiana's going to have that home court advantage. I just think throughout the whole season and the playoffs especially, OKC it seems like, they've gone against every type of team. They've gone against slow and methodical teams like Thunder. They've gone against, teams with great athleticism in, the Timberwolves. And I think they are, despite their youth, well prepared for any type of environment. And I don't think they're going to get flustered or fazed by the Indiana crowd. And I think a lot of teams would, but someone like SGA who has this ability to just keep a level head through everything. I think, the Indiana crowd isn't going to, throw him off his game. I think he's still going to get his. And I think OKC takes game 3.
Okay.
So
there you have it. What was let's figure out what their record was on the road.
On the road.
OKC. And, I know they had a home record.
Yeah.
But how were they on the road? And not that the playoffs, playoffs is a whole different season. It's almost like a new season. But like you said, I don't think they'll be deterred or stifled by the crowd. Even though Indiana crowd is like crazy, they're getting crazier and crazier too. But it's okay.
So one quick question for you. So do you think that Haliburton has already achieved rare air? So I think the stat is now he's maybe tied. I think LeBron James has a record of maybe 6 winning shots in the playoff run. Haliburton has 5 already. So do you think that this stretch, right, of the playoffs, how he's played, these game-winning shots has kind of put him in that rare air, even if they don't get back to here? Do you think people will be talking about this playoff performance, I don't know, 5-10 years from now?
You can't deny that. Yeah, I mean you can't deny it.
So even if he does, if they never get back, you think his position is kind of cemented?
They may try to gloss over it because it's Haliburton, and they really don't. Like, I don't know, it's something they just hate on him. I just want to.
You think people hate on Haliburton?
Oh yeah, I just want to say one thing because I'm a homer. Detroit could have had Halliburton.
Oh,
Should
yeah.
have had Halliburton.
Yeah.
He thought he was coming to Detroit. I'm still mad about that. Okay, I digress.
No. But I thought about this because he's hurt. He's still hurt behind that because what's the little French player that they drafted? I don't even think he's in the league anymore.
Killian Hayes.
Killian Hayes.
He's playing somewhere, and he's not. Oh gosh, where is he playing?
But the Pistons, the Pistons have had a horrible record. Of drafting.
Look, I'm still on Darko. I'm still heard about Darko years ago.
Right, because they could have had Melo. They could have had Melo. They could have had Haliburton. Who else?
And he thought he was coming here.
That's right.
It was like a done deal.
Who else have the Pistons passed up? Let me see.
You want the whole list?
Yeah. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, so they hate on, people do hate on him, but you cannot deny game-winning shots are what every kid, every adult dreams of. When you're on your basketball court, your backyard, you talk about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you shoot the game-winning shot. Like, that is rare air. Yes.
Yeah. It's
And just for context, OKC, their road record in the regular season was 32-8. Playoffs, they've gone 5-4. So total on the road, they are 37-12 on the road this season. So they have a very good road record.
Very good road record.
So tonight, they'll get one of these games in Indiana, but I think it's tonight. I think they were probably shocked about game 1. And I don't think they're trying to let that happen again.
Okay, I found the list, so we gonna go down the list. Okay,
you snatching air.
Oh yeah, I'm snatching air because I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
The Pistons, y'all
the Pistons. Yes, all right. So in 2012, the Pistons selected Andre Drummond, and they passed on Draymond Green and Chris Middleton.
I'm not mad about that.
You're not mad about it?
No.
I'm mad. I love Draymond.
But nobody thought. But Draymond was okay. Go ahead.
But even Chris Middleton. But in hindsight, right? Draymond is a culture guy, a lot of grit. The Pistons would have gotten back to the bad boy era a lot quicker. With Draymond on the team, so you say they still won that. Andre Drummond was a good selection,
won it, but like if they're two, you're talking about a center and a forward,
right? So was it just your gut? Was that a good?
Why you gotta say Andre Drummond? I saw him in Costco with his dog. I was like, what are you doing? Okay, anyway.
So did they?
I be getting off track. I don't think that. Well, Chris Middleton, both of them.
So they right. So
Chris Middleton,
that's who was on the board.
Interesting, but who? I'd have to know who we had at the time.
No,
what did we need at the time?
I'm forcing you to make a decision. They selected Andre Drummond over Draymond Green and Chris Middleton. Was they on the right side of history or no? It's obvious they wasn't on the right side of history. What do you say, Elijah?
Draymond and Chris Middleton have done the same thing on the Pistons. It's about system. It's about fit. Too.
Right. So, but look, we know
nobody thought Darko Milicic was the right.
I agree,
fit
but I'm saying now we know in hindsight they are not on the right side of history.
Okay.
All right. So 2019. Oh, here we go. 2019. They selected Sekou Doumbouya. Who is that? I mean, come on. 2019.
Oh, you don't know Sekou?
No, I don't. And they left Jordan Poole, I don't know, Keldon Johnson, Kevin Porter Jr., and Nicholas Claxton.
Yeah. I think Jordan Poole could have probably, man, he has really gone to...
That's what I'm saying.
Washington, man.
That's right. So
he probably could have done better here.
All right.
Say cool. What's his last name? What's that last name?
See, we don't know. Dumbayula?
Yeah, no.
Then let's see, they passed up in 2020. So they had 3 first-round selections. They selected Isaiah Stewart and Sadiq Bey, and they passed on Philadelphia 76er All-Star point guard Tyrese Maxey. Now, the Pistons have sucked. They just have. I mean, we know it, but seeing it again in writing.
We needed Isaiah Stewart in the playoffs. That was a missing piece for us.
Back to 2013, they selected what I don't understand is these players go on to have really nice careers. Some of them, Kentavious Caldwell Pope in 2013, they left CJ McCollum on the board.
Yeah, KCP went on to it's the system, it's the role. There's a lot that goes into it.
But it's also talent.
He's a role player other places where they wanted him to be number one here. And I don't think that was
right. But even in I would say that the Pistons haven't had a system though. So what were they trying to plug players into? I think they were hoping that these drafts would be like the cornerstone of a rebuild. But was
that when Stan Van Gundy was coaching and GM? Like, I mean, that was a train wreck. Okay.
Don't talk about Stan.
Stan is great on the sideline.
Do not talk about Stan Van Gundy. He was not a bad
coach, but you can't be trying. He was doing too much.
So I will say this. I've had very few opportunities to meet NFL coaches, but I got an opportunity through work to meet Stan Van Gundy and his wife. And I will say they are truly the nicest people. Mm-hmm. And his wife passed away a couple of years, but when he was coaching here in Detroit, I was doing a lot of work around early childhood education. He and his wife heard about the work, decided that they wanted to make a sizable contribution to support early childhood education. So just have a little soft spot in my heart.
I mean, I know, but I almost became a Dan Campbell fan, and I'm not, but I'm talking about on the court, on the field, all that. On the sideline, the Van Gundys, Jeff and Stan, those are icons. But I mean, on the sideline announcing. But
yeah,
you're trying to be a coach and a GM at the same time, and it's not working. Like, no.
Yeah, it was. So just to kind of close the loop on that. So his wife, her name was Kim. They had been married for almost 40 years. And so she passed away in 2013. And it was revealed that she passed away from suicide and had really been struggling with depression. But lovely, lovely couple who...
What, are you a homer? Are you a Pistons, Lions, Tiger homer?
I am not. I am a Philadelphia fan. I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. I was born in Philadelphia.
So when you brought up Tyrese Maxey, okay, what? Yeah. So the Pistons, what was that? They picked up Isaiah Stewart and Sadiq Bey,
yes,
and skipped on Tyrese Maxey. What?
Well, it's worked out. Maxey's a point guard, and they got Cade Cunningham. So in the end, they probably wouldn't have needed Maxey. I think if they had taken Maxey, they probably wouldn't have taken Cade. And I think for what the Pistons are building, I think Cade is a better fit than what Maxey is, especially because I think Maxey, he's an excellent offensive player, but I think Cade, his defense and, what he brings at the point guard position is better for, how the Pistons are trying to construct their team. The identity of Detroit teams has always been great defense.
Yeah.
And, I think with Cade, you get more of that than you would get with the Maxey. And, we're loving Maxey over here in Philadelphia. So we'll keep him.
Right. So I do think, right, Cade has been the shining star. We got that right. But going back to 2017, we drafted Luke Kennard. Ugh. Luke Kennard, we passed on Donovan Mitchell and Bam Adebayo. I mean, it reads like
I feel like
the best
was
of the worst.
The male Caitlin Clark. Like he came in, he was supposed to be our sharpshooter, our 3-point shooter. That's what I kind of felt. And he went. It just never panned out. It was like, yeah.
We passed on Paul George in 2010 and Gordon Hayward. I think to me, what makes these picks worse is not that some players went on to like have win a championship with other teams or that they went on to be a really solid player elsewhere. It's the fact that who the Pistons chose, a lot of times they're still not in the league. You know what I mean? It's because to me, that means like the evaluation of talent was like off. Like you thought that this person was going to be able to compete in the league elsewhere, right? They could go to any other team and still produce and maybe, be a 6-man or a journeyman, but the fact that they're still not in the league.
Yeah.
So.
Well, to bring it back full circle, Haliburton, they passed on Haliburton for Killian Hayes. And they said everybody told the Pistons people, the powers that be, that Killian could not shoot, and they picked him and found out he couldn't shoot. Then they were like, oh, guess he can't shoot.
The only contribution Killian Hayes had that was positive is that when the Pistons played in Paris, he was able to go home and they created a lot of great content.
Good, stay there.
They created a lot of great content from that.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a couple of topics, and Jen, you gonna let us know if we're going into overtime, right? If we're gonna talk about it or just end it at regulation.
Let's see. So my story, this one is it's one that we've talked about before, but it's rearing its ugly head again.
Mm-hmm.
Shedeur Sanders and Cleveland. In Cleveland, you have 4 quarterbacks. You have Joe Flacco. You have Kenny Pickett. You have Dalton. What's his name?
I don't even know.
And then you have Shedeur Sanders. I'll figure out his name. I'm gonna come back to the name. I'm sorry, but Shedeur Sanders. All other 3 quarterbacks are getting reps with the first team reps, except Shedeur Sanders. And being the ever professional that he is, Shedeur said it doesn't matter what reps you get. When you get in the game, nobody's asking you what reps you got. Do we want to go deeper in that? I'm making the executive decision to go deeper into that one, but because I want to talk about it. He said that, it doesn't matter. When you get in the game, they're not going to ask you how many reps you had. Nobody cares about how many reps you had. It's that you are prepared once you get in the game. But there's always a story about Shedeur Sanders and the comparison. If you're going to trade him, just trade him. Like, I don't want that narrative to keep coming up and people just, singling him out like that. He was picked in the 5th round. He was picked after, all the other quarterbacks or whatever. So if he's not getting first team reps in June, it doesn't matter. Like, just let him develop, let him play, let him practice, let him develop his game.
And I don't really know about that, right? I mean, I think if he goes on to be successful in the league, people aren't going to remember it. But I think that right now the Browns made some choices about how they wanted to draft, and they are going to play that out, right? Because if you now start putting him on the first team and he's getting reps on the first team, then it's like, oh, people are going to be doubting your whole strategy related to the draft. So whether or not it's legitimate or it's not legitimate, they are going to carry this through, right? And I feel like just the whole messaging around it is just setting him up not to be successful there.
Yeah, but and I'm sorry, Dylan Gabriel, I'm sorry I jacked up your name. But the let a quarterback get hurt. All that narrative goes out the window. All that, we had to keep up this narrative.
But if you're the fourth string,
it any given Sunday.
Right, but I just don't think at this point, if he's still the fourth string quarterback at the end of training camp, do you think that they're going to keep him on the team?
No.
Right,
I hope not. I mean, for his sake, I hope not. But
right.
They might. Who knows? Here's the thing. Nobody knows what goes. This is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about, right? We're not, this is not even real. This is not real life. So the Cleveland Browns are not a real football team. Like, they're not. They think that this is like strategy or something, or like they're, it's a shell game or something. I don't know what they're thinking, but nothing they do makes any sense. So, I don't put a lot of weight into any of that narrative, and they have to carry it out. They look stupid for drafting him at that point. You should have just let him go an undrafted free agent and let him choose where he wanted to go. They did the most Cleveland Browns thing that they could ever do by drafting him in the first place.
Well, what about his daddy? Do you want to talk about his daddy or no? So are we going to pass on that? The mysterious illness?
He's back. He's all right. Dang, Dion can't even get a cold.
Well, they said he was really sick. What's another headline? I do want to talk about eight toes down. I do want to talk about this though. You're not gonna like it, but Aaron Rodgers being married. Rodgers being married. So I'm so curious. Who in the hell?
Wait, you said what?
Aaron Rodgers is married.
Who he get married to?
That's what I'm saying. So
I wanted to talk about Aaron Rodgers just signed this contract that could go up to $19 million.
Right. So he
about 80 years. Like, really, Pittsburgh? Really? That's another one that's looking crazy right now. Okay, I mean,
yeah. So to me, there is no other player in the NBA who has had such like a 180 as far as like how they were perceived, and initially early on in their career and how they're perceived now, because I think consensus is that Aaron Rodgers is like crazy as hell. So he signed his 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he was at doing press kind of after their media day, and somebody asked him about this ring that he had on his finger. They thought it was an Oura ring. Shout out, Jen got hers on over there. And he said that he was married, and the whole room gasped.
He could be trolling. Aaron Rodgers also said he was vaccinated, or he said he was. He said he didn't actually say he was vaccinated. Do you know he's a troll too?
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying. It is hilarious to me that he has turned into be such a weird person. But this is something that I do really, really want to talk about. And this is, I think, the intersection, as we talk about, of sports and pop culture. And so one of the stories that went viral over the past 2 or 3 weeks was Vanessa Bryant, and the viral story of people saying that Vanessa Bryant, the wife of the late great Kobe Bryant, was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
all over social media.
Right.
What do you think about what do you think about that story? And she did come out and address it, right? Kinda, but it was clear, like, I'm not pregnant.
Yeah, she came out with a picture of Rihanna with a drink and let me enjoy myself. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, it's been 5 years since Kobe Bryant. Was it 5? Since Kobe Bryant passed away. Vanessa Bryant is not married. She's a widow. Okay?
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, the fact that people are in an uproar about her and the possibility that she might be pregnant. Like, get out of her body. Get out of her body. Like, what are y'all doing? This is ridiculous that she even has to address it.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that if she comes out with a little pudge, she can't just have a little pudge, she's pregnant. Like, get out. I'm tired of the internet. Like,
you're tired of the internet. We need the internet. We need the internet for this podcast. But she did.
Yeah, but
she
I
did.
need people to just be able to live their lives. That's too much.
Yeah.
They think Vanessa Bryant and Lauren London are supposed to be like
forever.
They might as well go to the nunnery or something. I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, so she did. She said, me protecting my peace, not pregnant, and having fun all summer. And then posted the follow-up meme, which said, I'm not mean, I'm just not the one.
Yes.
I mean, I think...
Or the two. Like, leave her alone.
But I mean, I think what's hard about that is it's obvious, right? Her husband was, a sports icon. It does not matter. It could be 15 years, 20 years. She's never going to be able to step out with someone and people not mention her late husband. It's like, do you, as a wife or, a widow, do you choose to move on with your life in a public fashion? Because she's done a lot of, public events and speaking engagements and things. So it's like, is she setting up this scenario where she's never going to be able to have her personal life, should she choose to date, right, in the public eye? So it's like, you're going to have to hide, hypothetically, your new man.
She would have to be with a very strong man. And he would have to be a man of steel, because
is it a man that strong?
Man of steel.
Well, I'm just saying. Like, I mean, your former husband, there's murals around all over the world.
I mean, so she just supposed to be a lonely, just.
I mean, no, who knows?
I would never leave the house if I had that much money. I don't leave the house now.
Why? Why wouldn't you leave the house?
Because people just are crazy.
That's why you have security. I mean,
I would have a club in my. I got a club. You talk about like I got a club in my house.
I mean, I would hope if she chooses that she's able to date and have a relationship, if she would want to. However, I don't think that there would be. I don't know. I just don't think she'll be able to. That man is going to always have to deal with Kobe's name being brought up. And you mentioned Lauren London. She's been very clear. Like, she doesn't think that she'll ever really date or be in a relationship like that again.
Let's hope that doesn't become true. They're not old. So that's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a long time. If you want it. If you don't want it, that's fine. But don't let the public make that.
But then you're going to have to go through that whole thing of, are you going to change your name, right? Vanessa Bryant.
You don't have to get married.
Yeah, but I just don't. I think it's a non-starter. I don't think any. Elijah, do you want to weigh in on this topic? Do you think?
No, he's like, hey. Look.
Do you think that Vanessa Bryant could find someone who would be okay with being in a public relationship with her, even though her husband was the late Kobe Bryant?
It depends on the person. I think, like you said, it would have to be a very, very strong individual who'd be willing to tune out all that public backlash and with how beloved Kobe is, I think it'd be difficult. And at the end of the day, it's one of the, things about the internet that, isn't so great is that everyone can voice their opinions, good or bad.
Right.
And, if you're on the internet in really any capacity, it's hard to tune that out. So I think it's unfair and unrealistic for someone to just, give up on having any other relationships,
right,
for the rest of their life because of something, out of their control.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I wish nothing but the best for Vanessa Bryant. And I think if that's what she wants to do, then she should be able to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think she should do it just because now.
Just because.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show. Like, but I'm tired of the internet. I'm tired of it.
All right, next story we gonna pass it. Kevin Durant, rumors of the Phoenix shopping him for a trade.
I mean, I think that's a given. I don't, I'm not gonna go too deep into that. Well, I say game over, but what do you say?
I mean, just weird. I don't know. I feel like, we could discuss it a little bit. I do want to discuss it.
Okay.
I obviously like Durant as a player, but I don't and have never really thought that he was a strong leader.
No.
I never thought that he was the type of player that you could bring in to help set culture or maintain culture, build upon it. And so I think he's definitely underachieved, which is horrible to say, right? Because he obviously won a championship. He's going to go down in history as like one of the greatest players. But considering, I think, the amount of rings he could have had, right? You think about OKC making it to the finals. You had him, right? You had Westbrook, you had Harden and OKC, but their, personalities and immaturity wouldn't allow them, right? Mm-hmm. To gel. You had him and Kyrie together with the Nets, right? That self-combusted, and he's down in Phoenix. I just think that he has underachieved compared to what people's expectations of the type of career he could have had, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. But everybody's like he's a freak of nature.
Mm-hmm. Best shooters ever. I think people want more for him than he wants for himself, and you can't.
That's valid. I like that.
Yeah, you just can't do that. He is not a vocal leader. He's not going to be your team leader. Like saying stuff. Half the time he doesn't even like his teammates, or they say he doesn't because he doesn't interact with them.
Right. So
you have to know what you're getting if you get a Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Right. So, like you said, he didn't live up to people's expectations. Yeah. He's not going to.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's fair, but what I do love about Durant is that he is very honest about just how much he loves the game. Did you see the clip that went viral a couple of months ago where he was just talking about how much he loves the game of basketball? He teared up. He was talking about the Olympics and just how awesome it was to be representing your country and to see people who, saved up money to travel to see them. And he was like, just to think that ball, right, did all this for me. So I love the fact that he just has a purity about how he sees the game and his love for it. But you're right. And I don't know if that's fair, right, to say that he has underachieved based on other people's expectations. Whereas he's like, I love to hoop and I still get to hoop. And so it's a success. And I made a lot of money hooping, right? So I'm a success, a wild success.
Right. I like how unbothered he is. And I think as he gets older, he's even more unbothered. And I like that.
It's obvious because his hair still look like indoor-outdoor carpet.
He's not still
not putting on any lotion. You know what I'm saying?
He does not care.
He still wears his little night suits. So he just want to hoop. That's it, you know. But
and I love it.
At this point, where would you see him going?
They kept saying Dallas.
Dallas.
Was it Dallas? Yeah.
He might as well go back to Golden State.
So here's my thing. I'm not good at saying, I can see a certain player in this team or that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to go wherever they go, and then I'll look at it, because who do you have to give up in order to get them? And so I'd have to know both sides of it.
Where Elijah, where do you think he would be able to contribute?
I've heard the team that I've heard the most is San Antonio.
That's what the other Texas team. Yeah. I said Dallas. I meant San Antonio. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've heard San Antonio, and I think from a fit perspective and a trade perspective, I think that's not a unrealistic trade destination for him. San Antonio, they have the number 2 pick. And, they're in a position where if they want to get a win now player, a Kevin Durant type player, the number 2 pick, and, they've got a lot of young guys that they could package, a Keldon Johnson, a Devin Vassell, maybe, guys like that. They could put together a very alluring package for a Kevin Durant. Now, the one thing I will say about Kevin Durant, and you touched on it, was that he is not going to be your vocal leader. Right. And I think if you are going to have a Kevin Durant on your team, you need to have a culture setter already in place.
You need somebody like punch somebody in the mouth like Draymond.
It doesn't have to be. Who is that on San Antonio? Because Wemby is not.
Yeah, and that would be my one gripe, is that I'm not sure that Wemby is that vocal leader.
No.
And it doesn't have to be, a punch you in the mouth,
that was just a joke.
Right. Yeah, they don't need LeBron.
We saw it in Golden State.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is a culture setter, but he's not the culture setter in, that type of way. He's a culture setter in, he leads by example. His work ethic and, his leadership allows, Golden State, to have had one of the greatest teams ever when Durant was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that San Antonio would be willing to give up all those young pieces for Kevin Durant at this point in his career. But if any team were to, make a move for Durant, I think it would be San Antonio. So
it would be nice to see him, Victor, and De'Aaron Fox play together. Is Chris Paul still there?
For now.
Yeah.
For now. I think he has. It depends how much longer does he want to play. That's the thing. I want to see.
Do you want to see him win one more championship?
Yeah,
you do.
I mean, I do. So, I do. But TBD.
And then
does he leave? Does he stay? I think he leaves, but it has to be the right fit. Don't just go somewhere just because. Don't, no rebuilding. No. But that is our time. That's all, until we covered a lot.
We did.
I have a lot more I could cover, but we got more shows to come. So, like I said, tonight's the game. Tonight is game 3 of the finals. So we'll see how we do with our predictions on the next episode. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And make sure you tell your friends and your family about Aunties Talk Sports. If they want to go beyond the game and go to the intersection of sports and culture for the female sports fan. And thank you, Elijah, for the statistician
and the takes.
No problem.
and the information that you gave us and your input.
Yes.
Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So,
well, signing off. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.